along with a possible wintry mix in the evening. We'll see highs of 54 and lows of 28. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Thursday, February 26th of 2026 at 9 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 30 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Inhale, exhale.
All right. Let's start.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Patriot Home Care is proud to present Driving in the Fast Lane with Frank Sparks. It's the show that talks about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There will be guests, and Noah Haswell will have the news at the top and bottom of each hour. And now, here is the host of the show, Frank Sparks.
Hey, good morning on this Thursday morning, and welcome in. We got a busy day planned for you, so we're going to get started out. We're going to talk AI in the classroom to start with, and then in hour number 2, DJ Fry is going to be the guest host. He's going to take over for me in the best of Beaver County, and he's going to be bringing along with him the young children from Central Valley High School that will be talking about their musical this weekend, which is Freaky Friday. So with that, let's get started for today. And if you do have any questions as we're going along with talking about AI and those things, you're more than welcome to call in this morning as well at 724-774-1888 and 843-1888. And with that, let's say good morning to everybody. So Susan Emmett is here. She's from Beaver Valley Intermediate Unit. Last time you were in, we gave you some homework to do.
You did.
And so I got to reverse the role for once. I didn't have to do the homework. And you did that homework. And who'd you bring along with you today?
So I brought with you 2 of my colleagues from Western Beaver.
Okay.
We have Dave Brandon, the principal of the junior senior high. And then we have Nick. Say your last name, please.
Nick Jovanovich.
Thank you. And Nick is one of the teachers from my AI cohort.
You got a radio name and a radio voice. And you said you used to be in radio.
Yeah, so I actually started my career in the media entertainment industry and broadcasting and all of that with 93.7 The Fan, WTAE, and all of that.
Okay.
I then worked in Chicago for a number of years where I was with 120 Sports. It was a broadcast that was the first ever exclusively digital sports platform.
Okay.
So it was the first wave of like Apple TV, Chromecast, Roku, that kind of thing.
Okay.
That was owned by Jerry Reinsdorf, who owns the Bulls and the White Sox.
Okay.
I came back to the area and started doing some regional work for ABC again, but then I started teaching TV and radio with an educational nonprofit. So the more I did that, the more I was like, hey, I think I want to do this full time. So I went, got my master's in education, taught 1 year out in Indiana County, and now this is my 5th year here at Western Beaver.
So what do you teach at Western Beaver?
So I do high school English, and then I do communications and technology, and then I also do drama this year as well.
You know, I know a really good radio station if you ever want to bring your students to, come and hang out with us and do internships.
Yeah, we could probably talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, I know this really cool radio station would be more than willing to do that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So, all right, and you brought the boss with you, huh?
Yeah,
All right.
the big guys here. Because we wanted to get it from all sides, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
From the IU side, but boots on the ground, but then also from an admin level, kind of what the landscape of this ever-changing AI technology is looking like. So,
okay. So how long did you grow up around Beaver County, or?
Yeah, so all of my extended family is, again, Hopewell, Center, Aliquippa area. I grew up going to church at St. Elijah Serbian Orthodox Church in Aliquippa. So, I mean, I'm Beaver County through and through pretty much.
Okay. So what brought you to Western Beaver?
Honestly, like I said, my first year teaching, I was out in Indiana County, and I was appreciative for the opportunity, but ride your tractor to school day was a lot for me. So, so that's where I was like,
we almost have that at Western. We're not too far off.
Is it Southside or Freedom has? Somebody has.
Southside does it every year for prom.
Yeah, but
I think Freedom does it too.
But it was also the principle of like being closer to home and being in a community that I grew up in. Like I can't tell you how many times I would go to Birchwood and Indian and get the French onion soup as a kid and all of that. So in essence, a homecoming of sorts and just the opportunity fit. And again, I don't want to speak for the boss here, but I think it's gone pretty well so far.
That
All
it
right.
has.
All right. So, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, they kept you around for 5 years. So
Yeah, right?
Either that or
It's
you
been
just
5
couldn't find
years
anybody.
already.
I was going to say either that or you just couldn't find anybody else to replace
Yeah,
you.
probably.
Who knows?
Don't tell them that secret. Right?
All right, so our conversation today is going to be based around AI in the classroom.
Sure.
And when we had previously, when Dr. McKinley and Susie came on, they talked about the partnership that they've had with Carnegie Mellon. That's where we started at. Do you want to kind of refresh everybody the conversation we had before?
Sure. Yeah. So Carnegie Mellon had reached out to us at BVIU would love to come alongside you and support. So, the BVIU is known for instruction. This is the best of both worlds, I believe.
Absolutely.
That they are able to bring us the cutting edge stuff that we at the BVIU would normally not have to give to these teachers. And then we can look at what is happening with AI across the world and then say, what does that look like for our Beaver County students? And in this cohort of teachers, we have everything from kindergarten through high school teachers in there. And we are looking at AI from the youngest lens to how your kids are using it at a very sophisticated level.
All right, so also joining us today is David Brandon. He is the senior high school principal at Western Beaver. And David, tell us a little bit, how did this come about that you became involved? Did they come to you, or, how did that work?
Yeah, so the IU they do a very good job of including Beaver County admin on every initiative that they have coming down the pike. Mm-hmm. And I have a pretty decent working relationship with Susan and Michelle at the IU. And so the emails come through, not to mention our monthly meetings to talk about AI. The email came through, and I had one person in mind, Nick Devonovich. Nick dabbles in this type of thing. That's what he does on a daily basis. And so having to choose Nick was very easy for me.
Okay.
So AI is a beast, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to tackle, especially when you're trying to persuade some teachers to use something new that is so unknown.
Especially the old school teachers.
100%.
Where are the parameters? Where do we go? And that's where we are as an admin team, trying to figure out those parameters to set a baseline basically for these teachers, then to work collaboratively together to establish what those procedures and guidelines should look like in our district.
So we know Nick, he accepted it rather well, but
He didn't have a choice.
Right. I can see that.
Pretty much, yeah.
So how so far have you had conversations with other teachers about it in the classroom?
I
How's
have,
that going?
yeah. So I have a monthly department chair meeting with my staff members, and then I kind of disseminate information from there. But some are obviously more into it than others, just like everything else that you have to offer. And I believe that my English department has kind of bought into it. My special ed department has as well. There are so many different types of resources out there to utilize. And as an English instructor, and Nick can speak more to this, it's very hard to read every single one of your kids' pieces of information quickly and provide quick feedback to them that's meaningful. And a lot of the AI tools that you can utilize in the English department can help you do just that in a timely, effective fashion.
Sure.
Explain what you mean.
I can speak from some previous teachers' experience, and the name of the websites don't come to my mind right now. Nick may be able to. I'm saver for sure.
Absolutely. And it also does a lot with, tracking keystrokes and things of that sort.
Okay.
And one of the biggest, I would say, stereotypes of AI is, it's cheating. Right?
That's the big one.
Yeah.
And well, again, we see that it's not.
Right.
But you were talking about like all the teachers that have, been doing it. Well, I've been teaching this way for 34 years. They're not going to change, right? Mm-hmm. Those types of people, and it's not even an age thing, it's just you're set in your ways. And, I've taught this unit for the past 5 years this way. Why am I going to change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But like Dave was mentioning, you can do so much more efficient things if you are comfortable in those processes and prompt writing and what you're actually eliciting in AI chatbot or anything of the like to do.
How accurate is it?
Again,
Well, I mean, that's
you-
part of it as it
Yeah.
grows and it learns.
exactly, because that's the one thing that people don't understand is like when the advent of Google and just like general search engines came about, Google, Yahoo, Bing, Ask Jeeves, right? It was just, this is a website, go to it and find it. It wasn't interpreting the information on said website, right? The AI only knows what it is given. And if you don't give it specific parameters, then it has very little to go off of, and then it has to guess. And a lot of times when it guesses, it's enterprising its own information. And that's where, again, you can't just, like Dave was saying, for the one platform, you can't just simply take it as gospel and say, all right, we're cool. But you do have to fact check it, right? Anecdotally, I'll think of maybe like Romeo and Juliet, right? If you're looking for developing a new study guide and you say, give me a study guide for Act 3, Scene 2, right? And then it says nothing about, them kissing on the balcony or anything like that, then clearly it's wrong. And you have to go back and tell it, hey, I don't think this is right. And then it'll say, oh, I'm so sorry, you're right. And then it'll fix it. So sometimes it'll kind of just like be on autopilot and kind of cruise at the wheel, but you can't just accept it as gospel. It gets really close most of the time. But again, that's where you have to do at least a little bit of work. You can't just say like, and hit go and then say, oh, okay, we're done here, right? There is a little bit of fact checking that you have to do.
But that's where the critical thinking and the discernment of the students comes in.
Right.
So we put the ownership back to the students of finding what is correct and what is not. And they're digging into whatever the product is from AI at a much more detailed level than what we often would have done just standard instruction. So it does help our students to really, really get into what that output is.
Well, a lot of these younger kids, and as Susie knows, I have a second grader, and she knows AI better than I would ever think of knowing AI.
Yeah.
How much does that help the fact that a lot of the children are already familiar with AI coming into the classroom?
Double-edged sword.
I figured that, yeah.
Because knowing AI and knowing technology are two completely separate things. And in one of the last cohort meetings that we had at the IU, we were talking about digital literacy and what that actually means. We have kids that, as Dave can tell you, that we have a bunch of websites blocked and, for obvious reasons, but they can find their way around barracudas and blocked websites to play their free games, but they don't know how to check an email. They don't know how to format a Word document, right? So it's one thing to know that it exists, but the application of it is a completely separate thing. So getting back to AI, yeah, you can have a kid go to ChatGPT or Claude or any of these and say, do my homework for me, and then it'll give it and whatever. A lot of teachers in our cohort, not just me, but my classes tend to be very heavily discussion based. And when it does come time to do any kind of summative assessment or anything like that, you can really see that if a kid goes the AI copy and paste route,
Right.
it's abundantly clear that the syntax, their lexicon, their, how they speak doesn't match what it is. So it's a pretty easy catch, at least in my arena. Maybe in other content subjects it wouldn't be, but I see it clear as day immediately.
With young children, and that's kind of the reason why I started doing this when they first came to me and started talking about it, because AI kind of gets a bad rap a little bit for some things. So that's why I want our listeners to be able to see that there actually is good in it and what the good in the classroom and how it can be used moving forward is.
Absolutely.
So, David, how on an administrative level, how do you guys use that in the Western Beaver School District?
I personally began using it doing teacher evaluations and observations. I'll go into the classroom and we use this platform called PAETEP, and I'll type in all my observation that I'm seeing.
Okay.
Well, after the fact, I have to then go in, right, and assign all that evidence to different domains. And I've been using that I've been using AI to drop my evidence in, and it will kind of give me an idea as to what domains that falls under. So I have to go down and I still have to go back and do it myself, but it gives me a quick idea as to what domain that falls under: professionalism, classroom instruction, whatever it may be. I actually reached out to the developers at ETAP to say, hey, could you try to implement AI into your platform to make it a little bit easier for all of us? You know, even all the letter of recommendations you get asked to write. You know, do I use AI? Copy paste? 100% not. Right, but I'll throw some ideas in there. It'll regurgitate something. Oh, I never even thought to say it that way. Right? Put in my own words. Like, it's a super easy tool that does save me 5, 10, 15 minutes here or there.
How user-friendly is it? I mean, you said it's easy, but like initial setup, is it hard for initial setup? Or
Not at all. Like, if you use a generic form, like if you use Chat GPT, anybody can figure out Chat GPT. You know, you go in, you type what you want in that little prompt in the little dialogue box, and 10 seconds later, you have whatever you want at your fingertips.
But
accurate or not, that has to be determined.
Yeah.
Good point.
And the other thing, too, is like you get your initial idea with that, but then dependent upon your prompt writing and how illicit you are with instruction, it can unlock tiers to that, right? Like if you just say, again, summarize chapter 1 of The Great Gatsby, right? It'll do it. But then if you say, summarize chapter 1 of The Great Gatsby in the narration style of Nick Carraway, is he a reliable narrator, blah, 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 you're going to get even more depth, right? Okay. So it's all a matter of, it has endless possibilities, but you need to allow it to reach its potential, if that makes sense.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Frank, you had mentioned too, you know, we've been in trainings at the IU. They brought in a national speaker, Mr. Giuliani, and he presented to, I don't think, Susan, it was just administrators. It might have been just administrators in the county.
Administrative
there were a lot
teams.
of people there.
There were a lot. So I think we had teams of like 5 to 6 people from each of the districts. So superintendents, principals, curriculum directors, special ed directors, all coming together as a team for each of our entities. And the room was full.
It was full.
And it was
a
fabulous.
lot of resources he brought, like, wow, I didn't know that existed. Like, end of the day, you're like, your mind is blown because the opportunities are endless with AI. So how do you peel the layers back and figure, okay, what is going to work best in my district? How can we develop a baseline of policy and procedures to give our teachers a comfort level to then say, okay, well, I know where my baseline is. I know you have my back as a district. I can start to dabble in this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of kids go home and don't have parents or grandparents who help them with homework, right? So is it cheating if they use AI to check their homework for them?
No.
Some teachers will tell you it is.
I use AI every day to check myself.
I do too.
I'm big time.
I
Like,
do too.
proof. I have typos all the time, and
Listen,
I use it
just
constantly.
like we
check
had
it,
to teach, still are teaching our kids how to appropriately use the internet.
Right.
Yep.
We have to continue to teach our kids how to appropriately
Well
use.
said.
Well, let me ask you this: as it goes, you know, does it learn? Since you use it a lot and do different things, does it learn your
customize
style
it.
of
Yes.
who you are?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll customize it for sure.
Yeah, and one other thing that you just made me think of is within our cohort, we actually are building a database of different AI sites, and we have it segregated to specific content areas. So if you're a music teacher, for example, we have a tab of strictly AI music platforms that can already curate in that arena. So your prompt writing, like I was mentioning earlier, doesn't have to be nearly as strong if you're already in one of those specialized type of sites. So again, music has its own, math has its own, English has its own, digital content creation, whether it's images or short animations, whatever. We are starting to build this resource now that all of us, again, lead teachers and whatnot in the county can access and then spread out to all of our home districts and say, hey, you're looking for this, use this.
All right. If you have any questions, you're welcome to call. If along the way here, 724-774-1888, 843-1888. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, Noah Haswell will have news, and then we'll have more talking about AI in the classroom after news. Our Lady of the Valley Parish is inviting you to one of the best Lenten fish fries in the Valley at the St. Cecilia Hall on California Avenue in Rochester. The fish fries get underway on Friday, February the 20th, and will be every Friday throughout the Lenten season from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be fish sandwiches fried for $12, baked for $14. Fried fish dinners are $15, baked for $16. Shrimp dinners, they're $15. Fish or shrimp salads are $14, and the Chesapeake Bay dinner is just $17, and it includes fish, shrimp, and crab cakes. Dinners also include coleslaw and a choice of French fries, mac and cheese, or pierogies. Yummy pies for dessert, but that's a little bit extra. You can eat in or take out, or they deliver from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Credit cards are also accepted. Call 724-775-3775 or 724-709-7426.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester.
Remember way back when you were young and the bus ride to and from school set the tone for what made your day special? School buses and vans have had a special place in the Fry family for 3 generations. At Fry Transportation, the student transportation industry is embraced as a tradition, privilege, and lifestyle. From the morning laughs on the way to school to the talk about the day on the way home. Memories you won't forget, just like the vintage football games aired each week on Beaver County Radio. Fry Transportation, caring for your children as they care for their own.
Need a new job? Apply at McDonald's. You could work anywhere from 3 hours up to 8-hour shifts. Whatever you choose. Get premium pay for premium hours like opening or closing shifts. They offer insurance, 401k, and more. Apply now at McHire.com. I'm loving it.
February might be the month for love, but one thing that's hard to fall in love with around here is the weather. This is Cindy Haladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union. If gray skies, mud, wind, rain, and snow sounds more like something you're trying to avoid, it might be time to have a spring fling and go somewhere or do something that you really love. Check your passport, your gas tank, and the weather forecast for your dream vacation. Then come and see me for the money. Personal, home equity, and auto loans with approved credit might have you packing by the end of this commercial. Maybe even packing the trunk of your new car. Visit friendlyfcu.org for current available loans and terms. Start your search for something you'll love this month at Friendly Federal Credit Union, making more sense for you. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
Friendly Federal Credit Union. You got a friend.
Our Lady of the Valley Parish is inviting you to one of the best Lenten fish fries in the Valley at the St. Cecilia Hall on California Avenue in Rochester. The fish fries get underway on Friday, February the 20th, and will be every Friday throughout the Lenten season from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be fish sandwiches fried for $12, baked for $14. Fried fish dinners are $15, baked for $16. Shrimp dinners, they're $15. Fish or shrimp salads are $14, and the Chesapeake Bay dinner is just $17, and it includes fish, shrimp, and crab cakes. Dinners also include coleslaw and a choice of French fries, mac and cheese, or pierogies. Yummy pies for dessert, but that's a little bit extra. You can eat in or take out, or they deliver from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Credit cards are also accepted. Call 724-775-3775 or 724-709-7426.
Patriot Home Care is now hiring caregivers. Are you a caring and compassionate individual looking for a reliable income with benefits? Then call Patriot Home Care today. Benefits include health insurance, life insurance, paid vacation after 1 year, and 1.5 times hourly pay for overtime plus holiday hours. Patriot Home Care employees provide personal care, conversation and companionship, medication reminders, light housekeeping and laundry, meal preparation, and errands. Start your career in home care today and call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or apply online at patriothomecare.org.
LM&R Excavating is family owned and does more than just digging. LM&R Excavating is tri-state licensed and fully compliant in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. Along with excavating, LM&R provides roll-off dumpster services, ADS drainage pipe, trucking and hauling, and hydraulic hose repair through Rust Belt Hydraulics. Coming this spring, LM&R Excavating will be your source for mulch, sand, gravel, and and topsoil. LM&R Excavating services contractors, businesses, and homeowners. Contact them online at lmrexcavating.com. That's LM&R Excavating. Contact them today.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Yep. Good morning on this Thursday, February 26th of 2026. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. During the Commissioners' report of the Beaver County Commissioners' work session yesterday morning at the Beaver County Courthouse in Beaver, Commissioner Jack Manning wanted to let the audience know that recognition was recently given to both Beaver Falls Mayor Kenya Johns and the Executive Director of the Beaver County Conservation District, Jeff Flug.
I also want to give a shout out to Jeff Flug. Jeff was honored by Pennsylvania Conservation District organization, statewide organization, as a person outstanding in this field as executive director. And I think any of you that have ever dealt with Jeff on any of the conservation district issue, the guy is exemplary executive director, and they do a great job. And so congratulations, Jeff, on that. And also a shout out to Mayor Kenya Johns, who was selected by City and State Magazine, Pennsylvania 2026 Black Trailblazer. And Kenya does a pretty good job there at Beaver Falls. She's been a great person for us to work with over the years.
Pennsylvania State Police in Pittsburgh reported via release yesterday that 33-year-old Benjamin Wessell of Pittsburgh was charged for tailgating in Green Tree Borough on Tuesday afternoon. At 3:30 p.m., Wessell was driving on ramp 8035 going to I-376 East and hit the vehicle of 26-year-old Patience Wayamelt of Beaver Falls after Wayamelt yielded to traffic. Wessell had a suspected minor injury, and Wayamalt was transported to UPMC Mercy Hospital because of an injury with an unknown severity. A popular and beloved bakery, Jean-Marc Chatelier's French Bakery in Millvale, will be closing its doors for good after serving its community for decades. The establishment along North Avenue made an announcement yesterday that it will not be reopening after it closes its doors on Saturday. Jean-Marc Chatelier's French Bakery opened back in 1992 and has become revered for its breakfast pastries and more. Former Penn State quarterback Drew Aller is expected to throw this week at the NFL's annual scouting combine. ESPN senior NFL insider Adam Schefter reported late on Tuesday that Aller will throw at the combine at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana this week. Aller, who was listed on Tuesday by ESPN's Jordan Reed as the number 6 quarterback in the upcoming 2026 NFL Draft in Pittsburgh, underwent surgery on October 15, 2025 after suffering a broken left ankle during Penn State's game against Northwestern in Happy Valley on October 11, 2025.
You know, there's word out there that Steelers got some interest, so we'll see what happens.
In Aller?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
PennDOT Secretary Mike Carroll, PennDOT team members in the Shapiro administration in Harrisburg is now sending snow removal help to Rhode Island following a request for assistance to help them recover from the winter storm that occurred there this past weekend. PennDOT is quickly responding with more than 30 pieces of equipment as well as associated foremen, managers, mechanics, and operators from its Clearfield, Indiana, Harrisburg, and Uniontown-based regions, and they will help with clearing and removing snow from various local government roadways that are located in Rhode Island. And the U.S. Postal Service is hosting one of its largest career fairs in years tomorrow in Pittsburgh. This event will run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Pittsburgh Postal Employee Development Center in the city's California Kirkbride neighborhood. District leadership will be attending the fair to answer questions and provide insight into immediate openings within the region of Pittsburgh. Positions are available in delivery, mail processing, and retail. People seeking a job can view listings and can apply online at the link on our website at beavercountyradio.com.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
We'll see lots of sunshine throughout the day with highs reaching 40 and overnight lows around 24. Tomorrow, look for sunny skies with highs of 53 and lows of 27. And more sunshine is expected Saturday, along with a possible wintry mix in the evening. We'll see highs of 54 and lows of 28. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Thursday, February 26th of 2026 at 40 minutes after 10, we've got a temperature of 31 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
You're driving in the fast lane with Frank Sparks on 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. You can also stream live on beavercountyradio.com.
It's 11:41 coming up top of the hour. It's the best of Beaver County. DJ Fry will be here, and he has some students from the Central Valley School District, as they will be having their musical this weekend, Freaky Friday. So we'll be in for the hour and talk about that. But here in hour number one this morning, we are discussing AI in the classroom. We have Susie Emmett, as well as Nick. I'm not going to try and butcher your last name.
Nick
Jovanovich. And then also we have David as well. And David, I always forget your last name. Brandon. That's right. Okay, so David as well. So we were talking a little bit about in the classroom and the uses of it and kind of it learning at this point. So, Nick, in the classroom itself, and you teach, what all do you teach?
So I do high school English.
Okay.
I do drama, and then I do communications and technology.
So we'll start with English. So how do you use it currently in the classroom?
I do.
Okay.
I do it for a lot more of my design and implementation and not as much on the student input side. Because, again, until they know proper usage, to just kind of open Pandora's box, if you will, and have them just kind of start rifling away, stuff, and them thinking that, oh, well, I never have to think for myself again. I can just input it into a chatbot. That's what we're trying to avoid. But on a behind the scenes level, I use it, again, every single day as far as curriculum design and implementation. And a lot of times I'll enterprise ideas, but then I don't know necessarily how to implement them into the classroom. So kind of having that resource of AI to be able to say like, oh, hey, let's do this. Probably the best example of that was last year. It was the first year I did this project. I talked with Dave about like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this idea. Do you think it's copacetic? And he was like, you got a lot to work out on it, but yeah. And in essence, what I was doing was I took The Lion King, right? The Disney classic Lion King story that everybody knows. But there's a approach in English, or really just in media content, called literary lenses, where all of us as individuals, no matter what it is, we subconsciously view anything, whether it's art, a story that you read in English class, movies, radio, doesn't matter. We view it subconsciously through a specific lens. So you could view it through a Marxist lens, which talks about like class division and the lower class being oppressed by the upper classes and things of that sort. You could talk about new historicism and when that piece was produced, what was going on in the world at that time, and how it influenced the production of that piece. You could talk about gender role, right? Gender theory and feminism, and how women are so much more underrepresented stereotypically in a lot of older pieces that you have. So I wanted to incorporate that, and I said, okay, let's watch The Lion King once, just neutral, okay? Now, look at it through this specific lens. How does the story change? Now look at it through this lens. How does the story change? And it was so eye-opening for the kids because they said, I've watched this movie how many times as a child, and I've never thought to look at it in that way. So that was one really good use of AI on my part because, again, I had this idea, but I didn't know how to actually execute it. So they were kind of able to fill in some of the gaps that I had, and then that's what I delivered to the students. So that's, again, the beginning of the process. As time goes on, again, whether it's a proofreading site and something like that, where, again, you can get feedback and do that, the implementation of it will come far more frequently. But again, behind the scenes, I'm using it every day.
So, Susan, how much are the school districts in Beaver County? Or are they all starting to get on board and be part of this?
They are. So we have representation from almost every district, and as well as our charter schools that are within Beaver County. I think there might be one or two that is not involved this year, but that we've kind of tried a little bit to catch them up so that we're going to run this cohort again next year. And our hope is that Nick will come back, but he'll also bring some students with him.
Okay.
So as we are doing this leadership, that we are bringing students to the table to learn some of those things, to learn the application, to have some voice and choice within how it is going to be used and what it will look like, to understand the safeguards of AI, to understand the deep fakes, what's real, what's not, but also how to use it ethically and appropriately. So we are in the process of trying to get funding for that. We've written a grant. We're very hopeful that will come through. But even if it doesn't, we're going to continue to move forward because our districts want this. And the few districts that are not represented this year will have an opportunity to get back in next year. So we're going to run Nick's group next year with bringing students. And then we're going to start a whole new group so that there'll be another Western Beaver teacher that can come, that can start at the same place Nick started this year. And so now we'll have 2 leaders within every district. And we just want to keep the snowball going and build leadership, build capacity, and really understand how AI is a great tool for efficiency, but how we need to use it appropriately. So that's our role. I love how you use it. It is a think partner for me as well every single day. I've worked in teacher professional development for 20 years. So I have a lot in my arsenal. I have a lot that I can pull from, but I get an idea too. And I'm like, I don't know how to make this happen. And I just start writing back and forth with AI, and I'm like, shoot holes in my thinking, rip this apart, help me, really think of all aspects of it. And by the end, I have a great product from it. So we want our students to use it as a tool that way that will help them learn better, not help them cheat.
So what would be the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal. So I think we talked last time about industry. All of our workforce leaders want students that are knowledgeable in AI. So the ultimate goal is that the students know how to use it appropriately, when to use it, how to still discern, how to still be able to problem solve and critical think outside of AI, yet to be able to use it in that appropriate role that they will have post-secondary. So in college, in jobs, whatever their future holds, that they will be able to be a productive citizen in the workforce, using a tool as a tool, but not as a way of just like slinking by or doing the bare minimum. We still want to keep thinking at a very high level.
A tool and a crutch are 2 different things, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's where so often they will say, oh, I can just use this and it's an easy way out and whatever. But that's, again, what we're trying to do is not just a citizen in the community, but a digital citizen as well. And we talked earlier about allowing the AI to learn from you, right? And building its algorithm, for lack of a better term, on you and how you speak and what your general workflow is. So there's often times where I don't even have to give it a prompt, because if I've signed in with my credentials and whatever, it already recognizes the kind of workflow that I'm accustomed to. So again, it's largely about efficiency, right? And how you're using it not just to say like, okay, now I got 15 minutes while this codes an entire website for me or whatever. Can it do that? Sure. But again, it's the responsibility of that and knowing when to implement it. And that's probably one of the biggest things we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and if I can bring this back for just a minute to our partnership with CMU. This role that we want to do, this roll out with high school students coming in and learning, CMU already has curriculum that they are using at a junior college level of all of how AI works, from how it is programmed to how it is built to like really detailed stuff in the computer science field. But they have asked that they want to be able to take what they have and bring it down into the high school level. So they are going to work with our teachers of how to employ this with high school students and how this will also be a curricular resource in all of our districts at no cost, written by CMU to help students learn this. So CMU is coming alongside us again on this one. So we're very, very, very excited about how this will continue to grow.
And they actually invited us to campus. We'll be there, on the 19th
Yeah,
of
next
March?
month, March 19th.
Yeah. So we'll be there in a couple of weeks, and they're actually going to walk us through some of their facilities and whatnot, and not just say like, oh, wow, look at the pretty buildings, but also how they are implementing it on a day-to-day, boots-on-the-ground basis.
So as a parent, you're my child's teacher.
Sure.
How does, in the classroom, the use of AI, how is that going to benefit my child by the way that you're using AI in the classroom?
It's kind of a loaded question because
that's my job, though.
Well, yeah, I get it. Right. But it's the principle of your question is that it's kind of out of context,
right?
From the standpoint of if it's applicable to a specific unit or a specific chapter or whatever it is, there could be different usages for it. But to just as a blanket statement say like, how's AI going to help? It's kind of hard to dissect that
Aren't
way.
you going to have parents that are going to basically when they find out if you're using it? I mean, because of lack of knowledge, going to want to fight the system.
I think the boss man might have some ideas on this.
And I think lack of knowledge is a key phrase there. Just like everything else, we as school districts have to educate not just our kids, but our parents as well. However that looks in different districts, right? Whether you post different things, have webinars, or you would open your classrooms or your libraries, your cafeterias to have events for your parents to come in and actually have these AI sessions. So parents know what AI is actually all about, because when you don't know what AI is and you start learning about it, it is scary.
No.
Yes.
Like it'll leave your head spinning when you walk out of a room, because what are the limits? I don't know if there are any limits.
And I can say both as a parent of a child in the county and also working from the IU. So I've done a keynote for a parent community event last fall for one of our districts. Right after our big snowstorm and during all of the flexible instruction days that we had, one of those evenings I offered for the entire county a parent community hour. And so I got online at I think 7 o'clock at night. We had about 20 some parents across the county join, but the IU is going to continue to offer those. So the districts can employ us to come out and help support, but they are also completely equipped to do this themselves. But we want to keep spreading that word. But I have a kindergartner, so AI looks a lot different with a kindergartner than it does a high schooler.
Of course.
And so I want her to know that AI is not a real person. And actually, one of her STEAM teachers is in our AI cohort, which is really nice. And so I want her to know that when she says to my phone, hey, Siri, what's the weather? That is not a human talking to her. And so slowly we are starting to learn about robots, learning that it gives us information, but we have to ask the question correctly, which would be the prompt, but we're doing it orally. But that is not somebody. So when my daughter says back, thanks, Siri, I love you, and Siri says, you're the wind beneath my wings, Siri doesn't love her the way her mommy loves her.
Right, exactly.
And I have to come back constantly and say that to her. And so from a very young level, that looks different than how the older kids are using it.
Right.
And so we're trying to safeguard the whole way through and explain that to parents as well.
Yeah, it was rough trying to teach my 8-year-old that Alexa was not her best friend, and Alexa really doesn't love her, because I mean everything she'd sit there and have a conversation.
Yes,
and it's like you realize, So finally, I come to the realization this is a robot.
Yep.
And it, they're not having, because one day what happened was she was sitting there and was talking, so I just walked up and unplugged it, and she's like, "What'd you do that for?" I said, "Because it's not real, and you need to understand that." And then finally the light bulb went on, and that's where we understood it.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
David, moving forward in the schools, especially junior and senior high school, where do you want to see AI go to, or how do you want to see it used moving forward?
Appropriately, yeah. That's all the asterisk.
Because obviously it helps the teachers.
That's all the asterisk.
A lot.
I would like for my staff to be comfortable enough to utilize it on a consistent basis, whether it's daily or weekly. It needs to be utilized as a resource, not just for the teachers, but as for the kids, right? learn the parameters of it, kind of back to the question that you posed of as a parent, how's it going to help my kid? Well, just like you can Google something, it saves time. You can use it as a reference point.
Yep.
It's going to be yet another tool in your toolbox to utilize to do something effectively and efficiently.
I would imagine it also allows less time for planning and more time with the students.
Absolutely. No, it 100% does. And as a boots on the ground type of person, that has absolutely been the case, because it has allowed me to figure out how to cover certain topics way more efficiently. And also my workflow is now more efficient as well, so that I have more instructional time. I have more time to build, relationships and interpersonal communication and things of that sort.
And I appreciate the way that Susie has gone about this at the IU, right? I have a monthly faculty meeting with my staff, okay? This isn't another thing for me to go in and try to hammer it home to them. Like, this is something you need to try. It needs to come from a different voice, one of their own, one of their peers. And having that peer leadership, I think, is a key part of trying to implement AI correctly in school districts. Come in, sit beside your colleagues, your cohorts, and talk about the resources that are out there. Not just your administrator standing up and telling you what you should or shouldn't be doing, right? Boots on the ground, in the trenches. Oh, look at how this helped me with X, Y, and Z. Oh, wow. How long did that take you? 30 seconds, right?
Gotcha.
So, but my job is trying to knock down the initial barriers that are between AI and my teaching staff.
Right.
Because they're somewhat, I don't want it. Don't want anything to do with it, right? Well, just try it a little bit and see what goes on. So a lot of work to be done on everybody's, and to be honest with you, to make sure this all is done effectively.
Because I see too, sorry, but I from that point, I see one of the major things is, again, maybe not to stereotype, but a lot of more veteran teachers, the ones that have been there 20, 25, 30 years. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we kind of touched on this earlier a little bit, but a lot of them, it works. Why would I change it? It could even be better, if believe it or not, right? So that's where, again, you kind of need to at least give it a chance, the old college try, if you will.
Right.
So then that way you can maybe see, this can be of benefit, instead of just immediately writing it off.
You being a teacher and being one of the ones in the classroom using it, I can use the phrase, how will this improve my child's report card? But that's not what it's about. It's about educating the children.
Sure.
So how does this improve the education and get them ready for the next level or the next step of their life?
I think Susie mentioned a few moments ago talking about how responsible AI usage is key, right? And when I teach digital literacy, I haven't woven the AI component of it into it yet. But for example, I'll talk about Wikipedia and the stigma surrounding Wikipedia. And a lot of people, you'll have college professors that say, absolutely do not even look at it. But then other people say, you absolutely should, because it builds a foundation and a baseline. And then from there, you can branch out. Same kind of thing is applicable with AI. That, again, you can use it to build a foundation. And then from there, you then, with those critical thinking skills and whatnot, can implement those ideas to the next level.
Gotcha. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Oh,
I went fast.
I told DJ we'll buy his airtime next time.
Also, speaking of DJ, shameless plug real quick.
Sure.
I know you have musical kids coming in next. Western Beaver, our musical, is actually going to be this weekend. We're doing Hadestown, Teen Edition.
Okay.
If you're looking for tickets, you can go to curate.com, CUR8.com, and search Western Beaver. And the shows are Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's on Facebook too, so people will get it, and
YouTube
and all that. So if you guys are willing, I'd like to keep continuing the conversation as
Absolutely.
it goes along, and keep talking about this, and because
For
I think it's
sure.
very important to not only educate the children as we go, but parents need educated.
100%.
The public needs educated on what's going on.
Again, there's a
uses of
huge
it.
stigma surrounding it, so kind
Absolutely.
of breaking down those walls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, all right, coming up next is the best of Beaver County. Thank you guys for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
Look forward to continuing the conversation.
Of course.
All right, DJ Fry's going to sit in for me today. I'm done talking.
Eating a balanced diet can lead to good health.